Hello there, Stefan Remhof. And I hope I pronounce it correctly now. It's so funny because German is my native language, but I have a hard time with your name because somehow it sounds different than you pronounce it. Welcome to the Red Couch.
Thank you very much for having me here today.
And I look forward to having this chat with you. It's the first time we meet, so this is a
Exactly.
first because we're meeting for the
hmm
first time, and at the same time, we're doing this conversation. And I really look forward to talking to you. I had a look at your some of the things that you're actually working on right now, and I thought it was so funny because we both mention in our profiles academic rigor, and I hardly
hmm
ever read that anywhere. So might have to do something with the fact that we're both German. You know, that
Might be.
academia and academic rigor is important to us. However, Stefan, why don't you tell us a bit more about a fun fact or something that people won't read about you on the internet?
Well, thanks for having me here, Angie. It's very interesting, exactly as you told, like the first time we met in a virtual setting. It was really interesting about a fun fact because it doesn't come across every day, but I remember a very silly or strange situation maybe. Once I had a lecture in the north of Germany in Lüneburg at the Leuphana University near Hamburg. I stepped into the train and it was a busy day and I wanted to grab a beer in the so-called board restaurant. And by a sudden, I met at the board restaurant in the train one of the former bachelor candidates of the famous TV shows. Yeah, and we came into a chat and so on. He told me that he already also studied at the same university and was very interesting. So we took a photo back in those times, kind of a selfie. And that was my personal fun fact in life, meeting a celeb from a TV series, from a TV show, and having a chat in the train on the in the board restaurant. So it was a little bit strange surrounding, and I didn't recognize him by sudden. So it was my colleague talking. Well, that's the Bachelor. Let's go over. Let's talk to him. Let's ask him, and he agreed. Was kind of frankly open and so on. So that was a was somehow 10 years ago. I remember the situation as it was yesterday.
That is so funny. I would not recognize anybody from this show because I don't even have a TV. So, so I would not even know that, who that is. That's really funny. And and did it rub off on you? Are you now, thinking about joining The Bachelor as a
No, no, I think,
participant? No.
but he asked us about some academic rigor, as you told it before. Like, what about your activities or your engagement at Leuphana University? So he was more interested in us as being
Uh,
like lecturers at the
uh
university than we were interested in him. So it was a kind of a unilateral conversation, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, funny. And you teach global mobility.
I have let's bit a hybrid working surrounding, let's say. So at my first person or first step is managing partner at the People Mobility Alliance. I suppose we will talk about this company later or company later. And my second pillar is meanwhile I'm a professor of international management at IU International University here in Munich, where I'm based and where I live. And well, yeah, exactly. It's kind of international management, but it's global mobility. It's different courses on international human resource management, human resource in this national setting. So I try to cover those aspects, and I supervise a lot of theses, whether it's bachelor or master thesis, on the topic of expat management, global mobility, cultural intelligence. So therefore, I try to connect both worlds. Yeah, and as I said before, academic rigor and I try to transfer this academic view or academic perspectives into the People Mobility Alliance and into the work, daily work of the People Mobility Alliance.
Well, that's amazing. And tell me how how did you get into the field? What is your big why?
My big why into the field, well, I think a history of the last 15 years or maybe yeah 15 years. So I took my diploma thesis on expatriation of German academics back in those days, still diploma, so it's a few
Mhm.
years ago. And this topic really caught my attention, really caught my passion. And therefore, I thought I was a little bit nudged, so to say, by my supervisors to dive into this topic or to take a deeper dive into this topic. And they engaged me and they nudged me, so motivated me to take a PhD thesis, which I took in the end at the University of Magdeburg.
Mhm.
And I analyzed, I researched on the let's say, the role of impacting factors to live and to work abroad, the intention to work abroad, and I dived into the aspects of cultural intelligence, personality. How does personality impacts or drive one's idea, one's intent to work abroad and to live and to work abroad? And yeah, as said before, this topic still caught me, and therefore I always wanted to be a kind of a consultant in this field, or working in this field. And it took me some while to get to know the co-founders of the People Mobility Alliance 2 years, 2.5 years ago, Mira Patak and Daniel Zinner. And after having deep and late and long-lasting chats and discussions, we decided to officially found a company, the People Mobility Alliance. So we did in 2023, 1.5 years ago. And here we are with a lot of activities now, with a lot of podcasts, with our first Global People Mobility talk, and a lot of white papers with evidence-based research. So we just launched, I'm spoilering from my side, our second white paper on expat well-being
Mhm.
after or in at the beginning of for the beginning of January. So a lot of activities, and therefore we have the People PMA Consult, we have the PMA Academy, which will be launched next year. So our, let's say, ecosystem is based, or it's under the umbrella of the People Mobility Alliance, with different pillars or arms or activities, from PMA Consult to PMA Activity to PMA Research to content creation in the field I said before, like Global People Mobility Podcast and Global People Mobility Talk.
Sounds great.
Thank
And
you.
I guess you know that my company is called Global People Transitions. So
Not that far away, yeah.
yeah, we
And
have a lot in common.
exactly.
We
Therefore we
we
speak.
focus more on coaching and
Hmm.
training, but also a part on lecturing global
Hmm.
mobility professionals
Hmm.
in Switzerland
Hmm.
and also in the rest of the world.
Hmm.
I wonder now, you told us a bit about how you got into the academia.
Hmm.
So there was an interest triggered by a professor. No, most of the time, though, there's in the global mobility world, people have some sense of, they encountered other cultures or
Yeah.
they lived abroad or, they
Hmm.
were maybe moved by their parents quite early.
Hmm.
What triggered you? Do you remember any thoughts on that?
I think it was or it still is my interest in different cultures and comparing different cultures, like language, like behavior, like facial expressions and so on. It has always been a kind of, would say, my interest or maybe hobby. And therefore, of course, I was somehow triggered, as you said, by personal interest, by personal motivation, and then by triggered by my academic surrounding. I studied international business, and I spent some time in Spain and Sweden, in Europe. So therefore, I always had the idea to compare different cultures, different countries, different people, and so on. And this triggered my idea to turn it into an academic, let's say, academic interest as well. Yeah. And coming back now to the company or to the organizational field, now combining both academia and organizational or entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah, yeah. No, it sounds great. And you also, you cover the full landscape of the topics that are relevant for global mobility
Mhm.
professionals. What about your how do you prioritize? I was looking at all the things that you do. I assume you're a crazily busy person, but how do you prioritize?
In terms of activities,
Yeah.
or well, I think by combining both, yes, I
Uh-huh.
said before, like the lectures might feed the activities, and in the other way around. So I always wanted to be somewhere, or it's said in a different way now. It was difficult for me to decide one area in terms of one way or one career path in terms of industry or academia. And I always try to combine both. And I think it's necessary because I'm a professor at a so-called University of Applied Science, and therefore my deal or my idea is to transfer both theory and practice. Yeah. And I think that can be done, or visibly done and significantly done by transferring both worlds and connecting both worlds. So both industry world and consultancy, and of course academia, like inviting people to my lectures, guest lecturers, and so on and so on, and the other way around, like supervising thesis and so on, making those theses visible. Yeah. And I think both, let's say, pillars or worlds or spheres, however we call that, might might feed each other and might learn from each other. And I think we should try to even increase this interaction between both worlds. Yeah. As you said
Definitely.
again, yeah, well, you're teaching as well in Switzerland. So I think you can like kind of recognize yourself in this situation. Yeah. And I don't
Yeah,
want to miss
we
it.
have a lot more in common.
Exactly. And
I
don't
also
want to miss
studied
it. Yeah.
international business, so it wasn't a thing at the time when I went to university. We were
Yeah.
like the second year, so it was
Okay.
very new at the time. And what about your well, if you were now a bit younger,
Oof.
what
Okay.
would you tell a younger version of you?
Go abroad. Go abroad. Take the chance and go abroad. Yeah. I think you can never have, I would say, enough stays or experiences abroad. And I sometimes, when I think to myself, when I reflect upon myself, I sometimes think, well, I should have gone to different countries earlier. Yeah, because
Yeah.
once you're older, as you said before, you lose flexibility. You get a little bit, I wouldn't say lazy, but a little bit you don't want to leave your comfort zone. So the older you are, the more difficult it is to leave and to live abroad. And therefore, I sometimes miss the opportunity to have spent more time abroad.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So if you were younger today, you would say definitely use a chance to go through an expat experience and
Exactly,
learn
you
it.
name it. Yeah, the younger Stefan
Experience
should
it
do it.
yourself. Yeah,
Exactly,
exactly,
exactly.
exactly.
Try
Yeah.
to go there, trigger yourself, leave your comfort zone, and go to different country, whether Europe, whether the Americas, or whether Asia. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you. And we also always notice a difference when we work
exactly,
with people who have gone through the experience themselves, whether, for example, in our field in global mobility or in HR, they're more
exactly,
open also, for example, to improve the expat experience because they've been through the experience
exactly,
themselves.
exactly.
I also wonder, you have a lot of teaching experience. So, what would you say? What should global mobility managers, in-house professionals, what should they learn? What do you think is a priority that we should teach them?
I think it's a very interesting question. I think as we are like as the People Mobility Alliance building bridges between, I would say, the traditional global mobility activities and HR activities, I would say um, focus on people, focus on the individual. Yeah, it's not only about policies, regulation, compliance. It's more about people. It's more about the human. It's more about the individual. Yeah. And I wouldn't say it's sometimes neglected, but I think it might be the focus might be increased.
I'm keen to read your white paper on employee well-being.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
keen. Yeah.
Will be launched soon. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So probably, if you follow me, you've seen have the hashtag human touch. So,
Exactly. Yeah,
so this, is one of my pet peeves that we make
exactly.
sure that we're dealing with individuals,
We
with
do.
families,
Yeah,
and not just cases, and that we
exactly.
also
Yeah,
we bring back that human touch into global
exactly.
mobility.
Yeah.
Um, and then another question. You said you're running a podcast, you're on YouTube. You're on LinkedIn quite actively.
Hmm.
What is your favorite social media platform at this stage?
Well, I think it's LinkedIn, yeah. I think the way or the possibilities to interact, look at us. We met on LinkedIn, and it's a unique way to interact. It's a unique way to get inspired and to inspire, yeah. So
Yeah,
both ways, and it's a unique way to get to know people from all over the world. So we are operating in Germany. Our company is based in Germany, but again, we are like podcast guests from the USA, from Brazil, from the Nordics, and so on. That's very inspiring for us as well. So having the possibility to connect with people from all over the world and sharing ideas, sharing thoughts, getting inspired, getting inspiration. I think that's really amazing. That's unbelievable. Yeah.
fantastic, fantastic. And Stefan, I heard from someone who was previously here, you have a huge event coming up in January.
We
So
do.
tell us more about the event.
Yeah, so People Mobility Alliance not only about content, it's not only about consultancy, it's about networking and bringing people together, like founding an alliance. So the 15th and 16th of January, we will have an event in Herzogenaurach. That's a smaller town near Nuremberg, and two
Yeah.
days immersive workshop on charting the future of global mobility. Yeah, so it's limited to 15 people. A few spots are still available, but hurry up. And it's a co-partnered event with a mastering GM, Benjamin Bader, from Germany, but now in the UK, Newcastle. And the both of us, we will dive into different topics of trends of global mobility. We will touch and talk about compliance issues, policies, trends, and so on. But as said before, we will cover and we will focus on the human touch of global mobility. So therefore, it's more about HR, challenges of HR within global mobility, but as said before, covering all aspects of compliance, all aspects on relocation, all aspects on family issues, and so on and so on. 2 days of intensive workshop, limited to 15 people. If you are interested, dear audience, feel free to reach out via email and drop a mail, and we'll find a spot for you, of course.
Yeah, and we're going to link in the show notes and on
Perfect.
our website, so people who are
Hmm.
interested, they know how they
Excellent.
can sign up directly through that link.
Perfect.
And if they have any questions, they can also find you on LinkedIn, I
Of course.
assume. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
fantastic.
That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Well,
Nothing
all the
special.
best. I hope it's going to be amazing.
Hmm.
And
Thank
let
you.
me know if you're ever in Zurich. Then we can have
Hmm.
an apéro, as we
Oh,
Swiss people say.
true, exactly. That's a word not really known in German, yeah.
Yeah, it is like, like a drinks before dinner thing, but
Mm.
it can extend.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
it's a cool thing. I like
Yeah,
it. It's one
yeah.
of the best things about Switzerland.
Something to cover in my dictionary then, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you should take that up into your,
Hmm. Hmm.
foreign ways dictionary.
Exactly. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, have a great day, and I hope to see you in 2025. All the best.
Same on my side. Thanks for inviting me as well. Thanks for having this conversation online, and all the best for you. See you later.
See ya. Bye bye.
Bye bye.